So how do you know if someone is really generous? Jesus taught that you really shouldn't know. Jesus said, be quietly generous. Good morning and welcome to 755 Live. For about 5 minutes, you'll hear all easy to remember soundbite versions of what Jesus said. And the point is to help you experience life to the fullest, the Jesus way. Today's Jesus Said comes from Matthew 6, and we're going to be reading from verses 1 through 4 in the New Living Translation, where it says, watch out. Now, this is Jesus talking here. He says, watch out. Don't do your good deeds publicly to be admired by others, for you will lose the reward from your Father in heaven. When you give to someone in need, don't do as the hypocrites do, blowing trumpets in the synagogues and streets to call attention to their acts of charity. I tell you the truth, they have received all the reward they will ever get. But when you give to someone in need, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Give your gifts in private, and your Father, who sees everything, will reward you. And so the soundbite version of that, Jesus said, be quietly generous. Now, what is Jesus talking about here when he says the hypocrites, they blow trumpets? Well, there's no historical evidence of first century Judaism of anybody blowing a trumpet when they gave an offering. The literal translation of that is don't sound a trumpet, don't make a big noise. Now, in this time period, in the temple where people would gather to worship and give their sacrifices and give their offerings, there was something on the outside called a shofar box, literally a trumpet box. And what it was the place where people gave their money, which in this time was coins. And so it was a box made out of metal, and there was this trumpet-like thing at the top, almost like the things that you see where you put a coin in and it spins around and around and around. And so when you would give, it would make a sound. And so I believe Jesus was implying here that the hypocrites like to put a lot of coins in the trumpet box so that it will make a lot of noise. But Jesus was making the point that your generosity shouldn't be for others to see, because if that's the way you give, then you lose your reward from your heavenly Father. Now, Jesus watched this process at the temple where people were giving, and we find in Luke 21 this story. While Jesus was in the temple, this is verse 1, he watched the rich people dropping their gifts in the collection box, in that trumpet box. Then a poor widow came by and dropped in 2 small coins. Now, unpacking that a little bit, those 2 small coins didn't make a big noise, right? Verse 3, I tell you the truth, Jesus said, this poor widow has given more than all the rest of them, for they have given a tiny part of their surplus. But she, poor as she is, has given everything she has. Jesus was making the point here that generosity is about heart, not amounts. In comparison, loves to be seen. Comparison wants others to see their good works. In Luke 18, Jesus tells the story of, once again, a hypocrite who is praying and saying, oh God, thank you that I'm not like all these sinners. And in fact, there was a sinner, a tax collector, praying farther away. And the hypocrite said, thank God that I'm not like this tax collector. And then the tax collector, who was not a great person, was praying, God, have mercy on me. And Jesus said that the one who wasn't comparing their righteousness to another, but the one who was asking for mercy was justified. In fact, Luke 18:14, he said, I tell you, this sinner, not the Pharisee, not the hypocrite, returned home justified before God. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. It's the difference between look at me and look to Jesus. And even in our generosity, we need to make sure that the emphasis is on Jesus, not on our good works. So Jesus said, be quietly generous. How can you put that into action today? Thank you so much for listening. If this is meaningful to you, it really means a lot when you like it, when you share it, when you comment. I really appreciate you. I hope that you have an amazing day today, and I hope this time together has helped you live life to the fullest, the Jesus way. And remember, follow Jesus today. Love first.